Hello, everyone, and welcome back to NJCAA Esports. This is week 2 of the spring season for Rainbow Six Siege. My name is Power of the Storm. Not joined by anyone today, unfortunately, but I thankfully have the lovely audience at home, you guys watching. And well, today we have a match between Marshalltown CC and Wichita State University Tech, which hopefully is going to be a pretty interesting matchup. I personally just got back yesterday from the Six Invitational. I'm repping my hoodie, as you can see. It was an absolute blast, and I'm so excited to get into some amazing Siege content and watch these players go at it. Obviously, we're not going to see the level of competition that we saw at the Sixth Invitational, that the highest level of play, but we still hope that this match is entertaining for everyone watching at home and is hopefully enjoyable for the players as well. We are going to have a couple of maps going on today. The first one is going to be Villa with Chalet following up, and then if need be, we will be going to Oregon as our decider. Now, both Wichita State are going to be attacking on both of the first two maps. Obviously, Oregon, the third map, depends on how things go in the first maps, depending on who gets to defend and who gets to attack. So we won't know that until we get there. But in the meantime, we should be jumping into things right now with the ban phase. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance if my voice gives out at any point during this, screaming during SI, and now I'm doing a solo broadcast. So I'm going to do my best, but you guys just here along for the ride. And speaking of ride, that is going to be what WSU are doing as they get into the second ban right now. Marshalltown did go ahead and ban Habana as the first ban. Not too surprising. You would expect another ban to go through. Habana is a very powerful hard breach operator that you can bring to the board. Thatcher isn't too surprising. His ban rate as well as potential did go down a little bit with the impact EMPs being added into the game, but he still has a very wide reach, and those 3 EMPs that he has can be very powerful. Mira, on the other hand, is a ban that we see a ton of being banned out, especially on maps like Villa, where she can be very powerful in helping set up the site. And Pulse being banned is more or less just a ban that you see for that kitchen hold. I'm not sure if maybe WSU like to hold kitchen a lot, and so therefore Marshalltown wants to go ahead and ban that outright to just make sure that their lives a bit more difficult. He can be powerful on the 2 other maps as well, or the 2 other sites that are mainly played, but typically you don't see him brought too often. There are other operators that some people do like to pick more often. I do want to talk about the Habana ban just a little bit more because it doesn't really add a whole lot to it. Habana is very powerful for getting hatches, for example, but there isn't really a ton of hatch play on this map. And so, she can be a strong operator in certain circumstances. Typically, you don't see her getting banned all too often, and personally, I would have gone for a different operator to be banned, but it isn't a horrible choice, of course. You could still get a lot of value out of her. She's very versatile with the ability to put head holes, crawl holes, vault holes, everything you might need in a ton of different walls with just the amount of pellets that she does have. Well, we are going to be heading over to Aviator Games as the first bomb site, where we're going to be seeing Marshalltown bring a couple of operators that are pretty standard to be brought out, the Jaeger and the Mute, of course, as well as the CAAE, to just make sure that those walls definitely do not get open. But we are seeing 2 operators that don't get picked all that often, that being mainly the Echo and the Warden. Now, Warden is a very powerful operator to stop those Ying rushes or just those Ying pushes in general. Also Glaz, but Glaz isn't typically brought too much. And so you don't see Warden really as like a pick to counter something specifically. You see him as more of a deterrence of basically saying, hey, we have a Warden, therefore you can't just flash us and push, or you can't use Ying and push because there's a chance you'll just get swung by a Warden player. Or it can technically be used as well to kind of like, if they are bringing those off and they don't catch the Warden being brought, then it can be a bit surprising. But it seems like they've almost completely given up the north side of the map. A ton of the players on the side of WSU are going ahead and pushing all the way in. We currently see the Sledge playing top landing already near that bench. They do back up a little bit and are getting up a little bit of control, but so far no fights have really happened. We're hearing some of those cameras get shot out as well. We're seeing them take a little bit of space. We do have Mock, I believe their name is, playing all the way over in that steady balcony, but they've already pushed up into 90. Where is the players on Marshalltown? They're giving us so much very viable control. It does look like a nade's going to be coming out as well. The swing does come, and it does look like the Cookmax is going to take quite a bit of damage. That Sledge, there are tossed one nade, did not get too much. Another nade does go through, and it does down Young Soul. That is a huge down early on. It does leave one of their players super low, but unfortunately, it is not going to be, well, any of the attacking players that get the first kill. It's going to be quite Drowsy that gets 2, and when they pick up Kooknex and Trifecta, picking off the player that was a little bit damaged and then getting the line in the process. Only got 1 scan off, so quite a lot of value there. Both the nades were gone from the Sledge, so not the most value you could have possibly gotten, but still a kill is a kill, and another entry player is going to make things more difficult for the players on the side WSU to really push into this fight. All right, team is droning. There was a flank coming out from quite Drowsy, although they currently aren't going to continue with that. Instead, they're just going to go ahead and rotate back around after hitting that air jet. They don't want to put too much pressure on. But so far, it seems like that even though a lot of space was taken by WSU very early on, they've kind of stalled out a little bit. They're just kind of playing over near top landing, playing over near 90, not really wanting to put a lot of aggression onto the players on the side of Marshall. But finally, it looks like the wall is going to be getting open, and they are going to try to start pushing into site proper. Not entirely sure where it is. I believe that was the 90 wall, which I would assume had a KAAE call put on it, but maybe it was shot earlier, unsure where. A lot of intel being gotten by this X go onto Nemesis. There are some of the flashes come out. This is where the Warden is going to come so in handy. Although it's not the Warden that gets the kill, it is going to be Jack Jan playing on that Kaid, and it's going to fully Heretic as well that gets the final kill there. 3 headshots across the board, and a flawless round as well coming out for the defenders. I was a bit questionable, or I was questioning, excuse me, the choice to sort of play so much in sight and not really put any players over towards that north side of the map inside of Trophy and Statue, but it paid off in the end because the players in WSU just weren't really able to get anything going once they took that space. Once they got some of that intel, they lost those 2 players very early on to the Jaeger swinging, and then they just stalled out from there until it got to the very end. They had to push in. They didn't have a lot of intel. They didn't get any picks either. They didn't even shoot the Echo drones that were pestering them for the whole round, and they got punished super heavily for it. And, well, Marshalltown take a very solid first round, and, well, now they're going to be heading over to the other side that you see played fairly often on this map. Personally, I'm not a big fan. I prefer Kitchen more, but I know a lot of teams do prefer heading over to Trophy Statuary, where we're going to be seeing another operator that you don't see too often, and that being Thorn. Now, we are also seeing Capcan. We'll talk about him in a minute. The Thorn name is an operator that's kind of used as an intel gatherer, in the sense that, like, when they vault in through a window, they activate those Thorn gadgets, and it does create that noise, and it forces them to kind of move out of position. So kind of a positioning operator, as well as an operator that gets a lot of intel. We are also seeing a Valkyrie, which will give even more intel, so intel game definitely being a huge part here, as well as the Alpha slow things down. When it comes to the Capcan, that is an operator that we recently in the 6th Invitational saw banned out quite a bit, and an operator that did get a lot of value. At the highest level of play, players are pushing in really quickly. They're not wanting it swung. They're not checking doorways as often or windows either, and they're getting punished for it and taking quite a bit of damage. But we did see quite a few of those Capcan traps being placed off the site below down inside of Kitchen. And so, well, not the most amount of value could be gotten if they don't push that side. Putting 2 of them on those doors, that buff that they got a few seasons back, can almost instantly kill or down any one of the players on the attack, unless they're a 3 armor, which only a 3 armor that we see here is actually going to be that Zofia that's being brought up from WSU. But at least for now, it seems like that a bit of a stall has come out here. They do have a little bit of space on land. I think they are going to be able to get some angles. That Thorn gadget pushing them out of position. It looks like they're not really playing it for the intel. They're more or less trying to play for the picks, because they can't really swing off that intel. They know someone's out there because they can hear them walking around, so not the most they can do. Maybe that was on the window. It was hard for me to really tell. I thought it was on the arch. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to tell where things are just by the sound cues of them, but we are going to see now the players on the side of the WSU trying to get rid of these castle barricades, where a player like Sledge can come in here and just get a lot of value out of opening them up. But the players on Marshall kind of and playing very heavily in sight. We do see a kill come out now. Trifecta getting the first kill for the attacking players, taking down Young Soul. Unfortunately, is Flash there trying to push into Trophy here. It looks like quite a bit of a push going through. Here, Lion is on the board to potentially do a quick push or to flush people out, as it is going to be Mock who gets Jack Jan this time. We did get 2 kills in the last round, and the diffuser is already going down as we see the Nomad playing in the corner. It is gone down. Another Lion scan does come out. Now they can use the Lion to play the post flank. They're worried about flank, so they are going to be watching that with these drones, watching them heavily, but the players on Marshall, they need to get something going right now. No players have died inside of WSU, and there's 3 players remaining inside of Marshall. They let the diffuser get down very, very quickly. Shots go out. No shots get fired back until a little bit later. It is going to be Sylvie who does pick the kill onto Play Drowsy, being the revenge for the previous round. A scan comes out here. This time it's going to be a C4 from Fully Hectic that does end up getting kicked next, them going down once again. They know there's people in the windows. They know there's people watching them. There's not too much a Dekus can do. They're all going to have to run across here, and Sylvie actually does pick a Fully Hectic, and then it's going to be the swinging from Trifecta that gets the final kill of the round. A flawless round back-to-back, but this time it's going to... Actually, no, it wasn't a flawless round. This time there was one player that went down. I apologize, but still, a 5-0 and then a 4-0 switching sides. It definitely feels like that either Marshalltown kind of just threw that a little bit, or WSU really got their footing and just struggled in the first round to really get anything going, and losing those gunfights kind of put them at a bit of a disadvantage there for a bit. But now we will be heading over to, I'm assuming Kitchen actually didn't get to see it. Yes, we will be heading over, or no, we will be heading back to Trophy and Statue, which again, like I said, I prefer Kitchen. My reason for doing so is just because that I feel like that there's a bit more you can do when it comes to setups. Most of the setups are kind of figured out as how you want to best attack this site, at least in my opinion. And it feels like it's a bit too easy for value to be gotten, for the walls to be open. You kind of have to open up that far right wall, which a lot of people have been doing recently. I've liked adaptation, but just it feels to me like you get more value out of it going down to the basement floor, where you can play above and put pressure. You can also extend out a bit or play bunker as well, and just kind of use C4s with Pulse. Obviously Pulse is banned, so that's, I can see that being a reason why you wouldn't want to attack, or excuse me, play Kitchen in particular. But in any case, they do go back up to Trophy Statue. We are seeing a very similar composition coming out from Marshalltown, except for they've replaced the Thorn with a Frost. And Frost, one of my favorite operators, absolutely love her, and those Frost mats will make things very difficult for the players on the WSU to comfortably get in if they're doing a master push, but it looks like they are. So far, they are just choosing to focus mainly on pushing over towards Study Side and taking these main stairs. Again, a lot of the players on the side of Marshalltown have opted not to do a whole lot of room. We do see there is one player roaming down below. I believe that is Fully Hectic, similarly to where they were last round, playing with that Valkyrie, trying to put that pressure on. It does look like there might be another one. I believe there's a cap can all the way in the back, over by Kitchen. That's, again, trying to put more pressure over to that area of the map. And so because of that, it does mean that they can instead choose to focus on, trying to make sure they get this control, droning things out, and getting ready for another similar take to what they did last time. Hopefully, Marshalltown don't let them once again just walk in and plant the diffuser, but the possibility of that happening is certainly there, although they seem like they're taking a little bit more time with this. They're worried that Marshalltown has adjusted their positioning and are trying to pressure them out a little bit more, but from what I can see so far, really that's the case at all. We do see the C4s down below, which can prove very valuable if they're able to land them, but they don't have that pulse. They don't have too much intel aside from the... Excuse me, I was going to say something there, but I got distracted by the fact that another kill was gotten. Trifecta once again getting a kill onto the castle as well. I'm going to try to push in one more. And the C4 getting thrown out. Unfortunately, no kills does come of it, and the diffuser is going down. He sees them. Why, Drowsy, what are you doing? You got to shoot them. The Lion scan coming out to make sure the diffuser gets down. And once again, we're seeing the exact same take coming out here from players in WSU. They're getting the diffuser down. Once again, we're seeing a flank come out here as well. It does look like the Fully Hectic flank is going to go fairly well. 2 kills do come out for WSU, but Fully Hectic does pick up 2K to try to put their team back into it. 2v3 now. Fully Hectic doesn't have the in. No, they do manage to get the headshot kill. Very nice work. So far, 3 kills for Fully Hectic. Just trying to get things going here. 15 seconds left. Not a whole lot of time left to work with. They have some intel. They know that one player is inside mass, so they're pushing up here, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hit their shots. Knox does get one. Now it's all down to the 1v2, and it's Sylvie that gets the final kill onto Jack Jan. Another round win on Trophy Statue. Once again, for the attackers, it just doesn't seem like that this is really the bomb site for the defenders to go to. They might need to change up. Again, I recommend going down to Kitchen, but they do have or they should have opened. Yes, I see that right there. They do have open Aviator games, so they can go back to that side again where they had their dominant first round half. But so far, WSU have started to warm up a little bit. They're starting to hit their shots, find their momentum. That round was closer than the 4-0 that we saw in round 2, but still, it was a pretty dominant win getting the diffuser down so early on. Like a minute 30 left on the clock as well. You almost never see that happening in any level of Siege for that matter. And well, now that we're heading back over to Aviator Games, we are, of course, seeing that Echo come out once again. That gave a lot of intel and also stalled for a bit of time when it came to the attack that WSU had going on, and also that Warden as well that we didn't see too much of, but still did get a kill that one time, although we didn't really get to see their gadget being used all too much. But that shield, of course, is going to be very valuable. It allows them to bring a mute and get value out of their gadget, and then not have to worry about bringing a smoke for the actual shield itself, but instead, Warden getting some passive value out of potentially stopping any push that might come in. Although it doesn't seem like the WSU really changing up their operator lineup at all. They're pretty much just running the exact same operators that they have since round 1, sticking mostly to centering around the Solage and the Zofia, pushing in and getting that space, as well as using the Nomad for that anti-flank, and a little bit of Lion for that as well, but mainly the Nomad, and then using the Lion to side execute to prevent the defenders from being able to retake once they get the diffuser down. Although, of course, they didn't get the diffuser down in round 1. It's too much value coming out of the Lion. They did die pretty early on, but potential is still there. That's what they seem to really be focusing on. Of course, the hard breacher, Ace himself. Personally, I think that Ace is the best hard breacher in the game. I would prefer to see him get banned over operator like Habana, just because of the fact that Ace can be so versatile. It's really difficult to trick him as well. There's a lot of things that he has going for him, and even though he definitely isn't like a must bring that he was when he first came out, especially after some nerfs to his gun and also just tuning back the gadget just a little bit, I still feel like that his power and presence is a lot more valuable than an operator like Havana, like Thermite, for example, although Havana is still the queen of hatches, of course. And once again, Marshalltown not holding any part of the north side of the map, completely giving it up and allowing the players on this side of Marshalltown to just go ahead or players on WSU to just go ahead and push up all the way here and start pressuring the players on this, or start pushing players on this side of the map. We do see, again, another player on the study balcony trying to push some pressure over, although they are going to go ahead and back out. We do see someone on a study block window, or at the very least, outside on rappel, kind of looking in that general direction. But Fully High Tech is not letting anything go down right now. Just keeping that held down with that shield. 2 ADSs on it as well. The Lion scan does come out. It looks like they're going to try to push in maybe just a little bit, peeking, trying to see if any one of the players on Marshalltown is going to peek their head. Unfortunately for them, they do not. But we do see some stuns coming in now, trying to get the wall open. It looks like it will. Oh, but the peek comes through here. It's tagged on to Trifecta, is going to be jacked. And unfortunately for them, no kill does go their way. Some flashes going out now. Unfortunately, Fully High Tech is not there to really stop. Another Lions game. Looks like they are going to be going for another fast push. Diffuser is going down, but we do have the Echo Drone to try to stop it from happening. It does look like Trifecta does go down. Now, Nomad's still planting, but Dekus does get the kill onto Nemesis. Mach follows back up, getting the trade for them, and once again, it is just Jack Jan sitting in this corner, playing off of this hole in the wall. He's getting so much value. Another down for them this time. Mach does win the battle off on Fully Heretic, though, bringing the man count down now to a 2v3. Technically 3v3, but again, Kupax is down. No one's on that side of the map to pick him up. Well, now it's definitely a 2v3, as Quite Drowsy gets a very nice kill onto Mach as they peek in through the study door, just trying to get some value. Only 12 seconds left, not a ton of time left. We do see the stuns coming out from Zofia just to get a little bit of intel. They do know someone's inside a vault, and they're going to have to try to plant the diffuser. Now, he does swing close, and it's going to be the Habana, or excuse me, not the Habana, the Echo Drone that gives the intel, and the stun just allows for an easy kill for the Jaeger to finish off that round. Another defender win on to Aviator Games. It looks like that Marshalltown feel very, very comfortable in Aviator Games, and not so much so on the side of Trophy Saturate, but they're going to be going back there again. Come on, WSU, or Marshalltown, excuse me, please, just go down in the first floor. It's not scary. It's not that much down there. You can hold it. I believe in you, guys. It's twice in a row going to this bomb site and not being able to win it is not something that you really want to see at all. Again, I hope that they can make those adjustments and potentially win this one out. We are seeing a excuse me, a Oryx coming in here on the side of Fully Heretic, which will make things a little bit easier when it comes to them actually being able to get back up into sight. If they're roaming on the first floor, they can jump up through those hatches. But I feel like WSU are just going to do the same attack they did, and while they do have a bulletproof camera to kind of watch that, I feel like unless someone plays over there to play off that bulletproof, it's not going to get too much value. And it's like, yeah, you have the intel they're coming over there, but WSU don't really try to hide where they're coming from. They kind of make a lot of noise. They kind of just full sprint over there in the first, like, 30 seconds. But then they stall out a little bit, and you're relying on just a castle barricade to get you that value. It's not really going to work out all too well, at least not in my opinion. And while we are seeing Fully Heretic going to be holding onto this side, I'm worried it might not be enough, or they might rotate down fairly shortly. It doesn't look like they have. It's difficult for me to tell, but it looks like, yeah, they kind of backed off. It looks like they're in 90, though, so they're going to try to at least make things a little bit more difficult for the players on WSU to push in and take. Is install them up a little bit. We do see someone actually playing behind the bar. Didn't catch that earlier. So, again, they are going to be trying to stall here. They are going to try to stop WSU from getting this easy push in. So that I like the adaptation that are coming here, but obviously we'll have to see if it does end up working out for them as well. We do also have another player. This time, it's still going to be playing out on this stable window and trying to get some value here, although Kukanak just swings right on in and kills Fully Heretic. First kill on this map. For them, they're swinging as well. Quite Drowsy does end up managing to get one, though. It's the line going, again, only one scan coming off from them. Sylvie, though, playing on that window, is able to catch Quite Drowsy as they try to rotate back to site. Amazing work from them. And with that, effectively cleared out this area, this side of the map. There is one player that is playing over towards that landing side, though, so they might be able to stop the push coming in, but they're going to do a little bit more than that. Although that being said, we are seeing two of the players on the side of WSU being very, very low HP, they're being Nemesis and Kukanak. They could go down with just a light breeze, it feels like. It's going to probably be up to Mac and Silva to really push and get these entries, particularly Sylvia, as they are going to be playing on that, excuse me, Sophia, and they do have a pretty good gun for end. And although the flood is right there, it's going to be swinging, and it's going to be Young, so it picks off the two low health players. The having low damage doesn't really matter when, well, the players have no HP to begin with. Well, the wall is going to get open somewhat, as they were able to get the mute jammer, I believe, or at least there wasn't one on the wall. Again, the diffuser is going to be down in bench, so there's not too much that the attacking players can do unless they clear out the players inside of the site. It's going to be mostly going for kills unless they have someone rotate around, which could be possible. Right now, I only see Mac, not entirely sure where Sylvie is. It does look like they did go ahead and rotate all the way around and be trying to get that diffuser, but they have the in, so the swing does come out there, and unfortunately, no kill is gotten from either player. Is going to be Sylvia that gets the pickup, but Jack Jan in the meantime is going to be there to secure that kill. And now Mac swinging through, the C4 does come out, the damage comes through, but it's going to be Jack Jan that goes down. But Dekis is going to be playing all the way back in Astro behind the deployable and is going to be able to find their shot to get the final kill. And finally, the defensive team, it wasn't clean, it was very back and forth, but they do manage to take finally that bomb site. And now we're going to finally be seeing Dining Room Kitchen. And with how allergic it felt like that Marshalltown was to this bomb site, it makes me a bit worried that we might not have the greatest of performances coming out here from the players on Marshall. When it comes to this bottom floor, we are seeing a zombie, we are seeing a Capcan, we are seeing a Frost. Again, some Trav operators as well as some operators that can help set up the site. And Aruni as well as another operator that I'm personally quite a big fan of. And putting it on that door in particular that leads from laundry into dining, it will allow you to kind of hamper the push, especially if they don't get rid of it with enough time remaining. They do have flashes, they do have nades. It's not like it's impossible by any stretch of the imagination. Zofia as well can be very powerful using the stuns to go and get rid of the Aruni gate, but it's a deterrence, it wastes utility, and if they get rid of it too quickly before they push in, which some teams are often to do, just not really thinking about it, it can result in a future where it's pretty easy for the players on the side of Marshalltown to shoot it back open again. It's kind of just stop the push from coming in. Well, of course, there is the potential that the push could come in from anywhere else. I don't agree with putting the bulletproof here. It's probably just going to get destroyed pretty easily, especially since I believe they double reinforced off the laundry wall. Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, so they did put the footy also. They can't just run into laundry. I'm assuming one, yeah, we do have at least one of them upstairs. They could be watching the hatch drop, but we'll have to see. They decide to even push on that side in general. You can push in from pantry. It's a bit precarious, but you can do it. They can push in from master, which is what it looks like. Kukanak's going to at least be putting some pressure over this time, and a lot of players at WSU are going to be putting pressure over Trifecta already inside of master, pushing in the drone, going to try to make some head way. They do end up getting the Frostmat, though, so no kills will be going out there. There is a shield being played up here, but they do have Sylvia watching the run down, and they also had a drone that should give away the information. It does look like the camera is going to be shot, so no more intel is when they're going to be swinging in. It does look like the scan's going to be coming out. Is anyone going to be swinging off of it? It doesn't really look like it. Scan was kind of want to swing with the scan. They do have the intel, but Kuknax goes down pretty early on. Be fully hectic, getting a kill. Them playing on the Azami, and Dekis is going to get another kill for them as well, playing that same spot they were last round. They got that final kill this time behind, or well, this time they're dead because they got killed by Mach, who peeked over from Bricks. Was able to get a very solid killer, but still, Trifecta and Kuknax going down so early on. That's going to be your top floor pressure. Trying to play vertical, and the Sledge going down. You do have some of these breaching charges we are seeing coming out here from Mach that you can use to play vertical with, and it does look like they are going to be doing so. And we do also have Sylvia that does have not only the impacts from their gadget, but they also have some of the breach charges, which you do see going out here right now. I'm trying to pressure out some of the players that are playing in some of these corners. They can't really afford to get on drone or cameras. Young's, I don't recommend doing that, because if they pop it right above you and you're on your camera, you're sitting ducks. So right now, at the very least, they're just kind of stalling out a little bit, trying to get some intel, trying to just play some vertical, get some angles to watch from here, but -2 players, not a whole lot they can do. And a lot of damage being taken from Nemesis. I'm not entirely sure who that was from. No C4s going out here. It looks like that was just someone taking some shots, although again, it's difficult to tell who. Probably some vertical. Didn't entirely see it, but yeah, things are kind of stalling out right now. Not a whole lot happening here. The players in WSU, they've kind of stalled out some of these attacking rounds. It looks like Nemesis has gone ahead and pushed all the way up inside of Laundry, but they're trying to get rid of this bulletproof. Can't really get rid of it. Not a whole lot they can do. I guess trying to angle here in the corner, but I believe those recent changes that made it a bit more difficult to shoot it are coming to fruition now, and they do finally end up getting it. Almost avoiding a little bit too much. Thankfully, that they did have their teammate in block that was kind of holding down the fort. Mach been playing very aggressive. They've been playing very solidly, considering how many kills they have, but they are playing the hard support here. Sylvie opening these up for the attacking push does end up getting Young down, but Jackshan kills Mach. Nemesis being down as well means all up to Stove. The Jackshan gets the final kill, and now it does look like, yep, Fully Heretic does end up picking off Sylvie. And with that, it is going to be the defenders winning and taking the town 4-2. Was looking a little bit shaky, especially with those 2 losses in a row on Trophy Statue, but thankfully WSU showed, or Marshalltown, excuse me, showed that they were capable of actually defending down on Kitchen and Dining, where I hope they would be able to. Again, criticism of WSU's attack was mainly that they seemed to stall out. And they would play the information game, try to get information, but by the time they got the information and started pushing, they'd already rotated around. You kind of need to get information and act on it relatively quickly, because otherwise the players are just going to rotate different positions. They're going to get to better positioning, and it's going to just make it difficult for your team to really do a whole lot. On top of that, they knew where you were coming from because they had that bulletproof. They knew where you guys were. Even though Marshalltown didn't really stack up all that much to defend that, they still were able to hit their shots. I'm going to go with Jackshan getting 2 there. It would just completely stop the push coming in from the players on the WSU. Took that round pretty handily. But enough about the last round. Now about this round, we're going to be seeing WSU. This time their turn attacking, where we're going to be seeing an operator. We haven't seen this map so far, and we haven't seen a ton of recently in a competitive meta. That's going to be Maestro. He has his place. Don't get me wrong, we do see him occasionally, particularly when we're talking about Oregon, we're going down to that face. This side in particular, he does see some play, but not brought a whole lot outside of that, which is kind of fortunate. He used to be a very powerful and a very solid operator people like to bring, and it's not that he's gone nerfed too much. His primary gun, the Alda, did get nerfed a little bit, but it's mainly just he's just kind of fallen out of the meta as other operators come in that have been a little bit better, or that have just done similar things that he has, especially with the bulletproof cameras being introduced. It kind of does sort of what he does. Obviously, he can zap, but it does expose it. And so it's like, it's arguable as to if he needs a buffer, if he's just not Brock. That's not just what the meta's calling for. Who really knows? But in any case, he is going to be on the board. Along with the smoke, we're finally seeing a smoke no mute being brought out here, which means that information can be freely gained from Marshall. Marshalltown. But one thing that we are seeing WSU do that Marshalltown did not do is they are holding over towards Master. They're trying to stop the push from coming in. But a Lion also on the board this time for Jack Jan's going to be pushing in, trying to get these picks and trying to get these kills for their team. And Jack Jan does open things up by getting Kuknax, who, again, has not had the greatest things. 1-7 is not the greatest scoreline you want to be seeing here. But in any case, pick is a pick. But damage does go off on the Young Soul, and they're still holding on to, well, I was going to say they're holding on the side of the map, but it seems like they have fallen back now. They're going to give us some net space. It does look like no one's playing 90 either, so they've just completely fallen back to the site. But they have stalled for a minute 30. Losing a player isn't exactly the greatest either, but you take what you can get. A little bit of damage as well isn't the greatest. We are seeing Nook, who typically you see Nook kind of like roaming around. I would expect to see maybe pushing up Master. Is not happening right now. But Trifecta actually goes down, playing 90. They did push out onto 90 and we're trying to put some pressure over to the players, but it wasn't able to happen. And now it's Sylvie who's pushing up, getting 2 this time, and, well, trying to pick up Trifecta. That was Nemesis, but isn't going to happen. They are going to go down, and so is Nemesis. Is now it's all up to Mock, who's playing in sight. 7-4, an amazing stat line, trying to make things work, but now the wall is going to be opening. A 1v3 to clutch this out is not impossible, especially for a smoke player, but they do get tagged quite heavily, looks like by Fully Heretic, playing on top of land. They do get one, trying to push in. That is the Fuser down, and they do, well, have those smoke grenades they can use to stall out. They're going to rotate up, and they're not paying attention. They get tagged, but they do manage to barely stay alive. Fully Heretic places in the sight, as Fully Hectic, rather, who gets the kill onto Mock. They were so low HP from having to cross, and while it was definitely not the cleanest kill out there, a kill is still a kill, and a round win is still a round win, and Marshalltown are now up 5-2 over WSU. A amazing stat line. The 2 rounds they lost were a little bit shaky, especially with how quick the plant was gotten by WSU, but they've cleaned things up. They've adapted and learned from their mistakes. It's what you love to see in a team like this, where they are able to effectively realize their mistakes. Might take a few rounds, might not be the greatest, but they're able to adapt and effectively push through and win where it counts. Timeout was called. Unfortunately, it looks like it may have been a little bit too late. If there was a time to call a timeout, it definitely would be now. When you're down 3, not a whole lot that you can do about it. And, well, I'm not entirely sure how things are going to be going, but in any case, we are going to be seeing the players on the side of the WSU once again holding. So unfortunately, we're not gonna, there's no timeout that we can be doing. So WSU just gonna have to play this as it is. An unfortunate circumstance, but at the very least, we're going to do what we can to, or WSU are going to do what they can to see if they can adapt in this round. You know, it's a little bit, you would have preferred a timeout, but things happen. And they are going to be holding Aviator games once again, where we're seeing a very similar operator lineup to what we saw last round. I believe it's the exact same operator lineup, actually, when it comes to defenders. But what's interesting is we are seeing an operator that I mentioned earlier that Warden was a counter to, but we're not seeing Warden. It's the Ying. It's the Ying. Ying was brought so much. I'm going to talk about SI a little just because I was there watching it, obviously. But Ying was brought so much, was banned so much at SI. A very powerful operator you can use to effectively clear out areas. You can use it to burn ADSs. You can use it to burn Wamai discs if Wamai is being brought. Obviously, not in this case it isn't. But just, for the sake of being fair, I want to mention everything that Ying can do. Can clear out so much utility, and can get you a lot of space for relatively free. There's not a whole lot that you can really do to counter it, aside from obviously catching the initial throw out with an ADS. But again, I haven't seen it happen yet. The players on the side of Marshalltown are a blow pushed, which is interesting. You don't see that happen all too often. Typically, if you do see someone pushing from below coming up Astra stairs, it's usually just a solo Nook who's just trying to get a cheeky angle on somebody who isn't expecting it. But this time, no, it's going to be 2 players, Fully Hectic and also Jack Jan, who are pushing up. They're the 2 top frags on the side of Marshall. Now, a scan does come out here to try to push it. Oh, I forgot. My apologies. I thought that they were pushing into Trophy Statue. I realized that is not the case. They are actually pushing Aviator. So they're just trying to just get up on this side of the map. They decide not to go over through Master. And, well, now they can start getting some more intel. They quickly pushed on the players in WSU, but since they had to drone so much and they had to put so much pressure, they have stalled a lot of time. That's one thing WSU are really good at doing. And here we're seeing Ying almost come to fruition now, as we do see Kuknax that was playing deep inside of 90 does end up going down. Again, 1-7, not sure who they're being shot by. definitely wasn't the Maestro, because they took a lot more damage than they should. But it is going to be the Gaunt 6 that does get rid of that Maestro cam. Gaunt 6 also being a pretty decent counter. A lot of operators have it. A pretty decent counter to Maestro in that case. And the wall does end up getting opened by Young Soul, who is playing on that ace. And, well, now with a 3v5 under, and Nemesis trying to peek out and maybe get some kills, only going 1-6. Again, players like Kuknax and Nemesis not really performing all that well. Again, you know, 2 rounds have only been won for this at WSU, so that's not the most unheard of stat line in the world, but still, it definitely hurts your team, especially when you're losing in a stat down 3. Not the greatest position to be in, but Smoke is coming out now to try to stall things out. Sylvie once again with a 2K. We see this happen last round as well. They do go down to Jack Chan. I believe it's exactly what happened last round, actually. And Fully Hectic just pushes in, is able to get mocked. Now it's all down to Nemesis. C4 is thrown, and they just kind of let it sit there. And, oh, the plant is going down. Now it does look like Dekus has to cover. It's going to get down. Yes, it is. Okay, the diffuser is down. Not entirely sure where Nemesis is, and Fully Hectic is taking quite a bit of damage now. Flash does come out. It does look like Dekus is going to be watching Study Door. Both of them are, as a matter of fact. Some shots do go in. Nemesis is at full HP. They know they're close because of the Aruna Gate being got down. The swing comes out. Nemesis gets 1. It's down to 1v1. 25 seconds left on the clock. There's not a whole lot of health. Oh, wait, Dekus is down, actually. Wait, I just realized that was a clutch coming out from Nemesis. Oh my god, I was like, oh, this is clutch situation 1v1, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. They guys got down. Not sure when. Looks like when the swing came out from Nemesis and the first time they were able to down them, but doesn't bother picking up the kill, just goes ahead and diffuses the, well, diffuser. And with that, another round win finally for the defenders, or, well, in this case, WSU, who pick up their 3rd round. It is now 3-5, and hopefully the pause can finally come out, as we are seeing Mock call that once again. And, well, now that WSU have won their first defensive round, my question is, what is the plan for this trophy statue hold? Because we did see in the attack from WSU previously that their plan was to, you know, just kind of rush in here. And we saw that when they took a lot of space in their attacking half, and the first time around, they then went ahead and got a lot of space. Or they then went and defended that space pretty well in the 2 rounds they defended on Aviator Games. We saw Marshalltown give up a lot of space over in Trophy Statue, and then we saw, once again, WSU going and defending that space, win their defensive rounds. And now we are seeing what it looks like is the players on the side of WSU actually dedicating reinforcements over towards Aviator Games, which is great to see. It's going to mean that if the players on the side of Marshalltown try to push in from this side, they're going to have to go up against the opposition. Obviously, pushing over from Master side is certainly an option, but you do want to have at least some pressure coming in from the side of landing, and typically, easiest way to do this is going to be pushing in from CC. And, well, with the players having as much of a hold as they are on this side of the map, it's going to mean that the push might almost entirely have to come from Aviator or pushing up side to Astro Stairs. But it looks like that the players on Marshall have read this perfectly. They're like, no, we're not even going to worry about that. We're not even going to bother to have that be a thought in our minds that we have to consider. We're just going to go ahead and ignore the side of the map entirely and instead push over towards Master side, where there's not a whole lot of intel being, or there's not a whole lot of dedication being brought to the table here. I mean, a lot was contributed as well. A couple of reinforcements, a Kaid Claw as well being brought. Which, to be fair, Kaid isn't exactly the greatest to be brought, because there's not a whole lot that you can do to get the wall open. There's not another wall you can really put it on. You can put it on the main wall, obviously, but that's really it. And so, yeah, it does look like they are going to be trying to get the wall open this time around. Unfortunately, it looks like they messed up. It looks like they may have messed up the actual impact EMPs themselves, which is unfortunate. So the wall might not get open, but they can still push in through side of Master Bathroom if they need, push in through bricks if they need. They can open that wall a little bit more if they have to and end up getting one of those kills. But I did mention earlier that we did see a kill. Sylvie going down the top frag for WSU went down pretty early on to a nade, presumably from below from Dekus, who did end up going down. The refrag did come out, but then another kill. Kuknax, again, 1 in 9 so far. Nemesis picked up a little bit, but unfortunately, Cooknex is not able to. And speaking of this, they do end up going down to the Ying. The trade does come, and Fully Hectic gets one of their own, leaving all down Trifecta in a 1v3. Marshalltown doing a very good job pushing into the site, pushing up those Astro Stairs again, and completely ignoring that hold they had over towards Study side. It ended up costing them quite dearly. The plant is going down now, as we are seeing Young Soul in the corner planting in. Trifecta is down to very low HP. The Renegade giving away their positioning. They swing in, and it's Jack Jan who ends up getting the kill. And with that, another round win. And match point is gotten for the attacking players right now. A 6-3 scoreline. Not impossible to come back from for WSU, but it certainly isn't one that you want to see yourselves in. Another timeout has been called. We are going to see it go through this time. And, well, again, I want to draw attention to what exactly WSU need to really do, because it seems like the issue really isn't how they're holding this defensive site. They're doing a decent job of doing it, and they made that adaptation in the second defensive round to kind of fall back off and instead head back towards the site after they stalled for a bit of time, not really losing a player, which was one of the disadvantages they did have in the attacking round, or in the previous attacking round that Marshall had. Hello again. But this time, I think the issue might just be on the players on the side of WSU really making sure that they focus on either swinging together, or swinging with intel, or holding these angles and baiting the team to push into them. We saw, for example, on the defensive halves that were on Aviator Games, that when the players decided to hold back, in particular Jack Jan playing on that playing on that Kaid with the TCSG, they were able to get a lot of valuable players just kind of peeking into them, and they weren't really able to do anything about it. They don't like to, it looks like they don't like to swing very quickly. And, well, if they are able to capitalize off of that and actually swing quickly or play those angles and play effectively and get those shots off, I think that might be a lot better in terms of them being able to actually hold this site in particular. Now, maybe that isn't what they need. That is just, of course, my very tired single-person casting point of view on it. But sometimes the best thing to do is just to hit your shots. You know, there's not too much you can say aside from that. But in any event, we are going to be going back into things with Trophy and Statue being the next site that we are going to be seeing. Again, unsurprising. We're waiting for both teams to be ready. It'll just look like they are. Excellent. So as we get back into things, we are going to be seeing a very similar, not the exact same actually, operator lineup. I'm not the biggest fan of having the same operator lineups for each site, because I don't feel like that each site is like specific to each op. Like there are ones that can work better. Obviously, Kaid being brought, Jaeger being brought, not too surprising, but I would prefer if sometimes things are mixed up a little bit, especially when it comes to actually winning rounds. We just lost the site previously. Adaptations in the operator lineup can prove wonders, but you know, also just changing up how you play can work as well. Again, I'm hoping the WSU are able to take this a little bit further, that they're able to do better. I think overtime would be very impressive, coming back from a 3-6 deficit to be able to take it to overtime. And we have seen teams that have been able to do very well after they have a pause come through, but the question remains as to if they're going to be able to actually do that themselves, or if, unfortunately, they're going to fumble where it matters. And I hope not. And again, we're seeing a very similar setup coming up here where WSU are setting up over towards Aviator side, although it doesn't look like that. I mean, more than just one player, only Trifecta and the Jaeger playing over here. But one thing I do hope happens is that they can rotate back around a bit quicker. Also, that Sylvia doesn't die to a nade. That does kind of cost them. When you're the top frag, when you're doing really well on your team, going down early on can be very devastating. But it does look like the wall is getting open relatively quickly, and those impact EMPs, or actually, what are the impact EMPs? No, they weren't used. That's strange. I swear I heard an explosion happen somewhere. In any event, oh, it does look like a Flores on the board, actually. Almost didn't notice that. Flores being brought out is actually quite interesting, because it does mean that any shields that are brought, like Moksha, for example, are going to get taken care of relatively quickly. It also gives you a little bit of intel, which is always kind of helpful when you're doing a push, but really it's used for intel a bit later on, or to flush out players that are playing in positions that are a bit annoying, like Brick, for example. When you know someone's there, you just want to get rid of them real quick, but there's a moment, not a whole lot happening. You're kind of just waiting a little bit. We do see Quite Drowsy is playing down below on Astro Stairs. They do have all of those Candela's in pocket they can use to throw up and get a bit of space. But will they get value from it this time? They are going to charge it. They toss it up, and it gets eaten by an ADS. So no, someone knows it's down there. If I was Sylvie right now, I would swing, and they don't swing, and they do. Oh, I was so worried that it wasn't going to happen, but Sylvie finally managed to find the head. Does end up being on to fight Drowsy. Second, fires right back. Gets two this time. Krugnax and Mock going down. Trifecta is actually down this time. Young Soul getting another one as well. Just kills flying across the board. All orange in the kill feature. Trifecta finally gets picked up. It's all down to Nemesis, and he isn't able to do anything. Dekus does end up getting the kill, and well, a flawless round to end things out for the attackers is one way to go about things. Unfortunately, that pause, while it may have been a little bit late to come, wasn't able to do what at least the players on WSU were really hoping that it could do. And in the end, it was actually Marshall that ended up winning that round, which ultimately mean they won that map. An amazing map from them. They faltered a little bit, that second map in particular, where it was a 4-0, only being kind of stifled by the C4 kill that did come out. Does make things a little bit difficult, but in the end, a win is a win, and they are definitely looking very, very strong. Of course, there is still at least one more map to go. I hope that WSU can bring things back in the meantime, but if they don't, that's all good as well. We'll just have another map, and we won't see map 3. But before we go to map 2, we are just going to go ahead and take a quick break. I need some water. I've been talking for the entire time. So anyway, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. There's still more matches to come. Spring season week 2. My name is Power of the Storm, and if you are just now joining us, we are in the middle of the match between WSUT, or Wichita State University Tech, and Marshalltown Community College, where we saw map 1 be taken by Marshalltown CC as they had a 7-3 game on Villa that they showed that they weren't undefeatable, but they were a little bit shaky at parts of it. And well, now we're going to see if that shakiness comes to fruition as we head to our second map, which is going to be Chalet. Once again, with WSU starting attack first, which you don't see all too often. Teams deciding to, not take the defense and attack every round. It's a bit strange, but they might feel more comfortable in attack on one of the maps. I'm not entirely sure who chose what on which map, but in any event, is what we're going to be seeing relatively shortly. For those of you who are also just joining in, this is a solo cast, so apologies if I might take a couple moments to catch my breath, or if I sound like I'm going all over the place or I'm rambling a lot. It's because I am. We're just going with what we have now, and as we get into the band phase here, we're starting out with a Maverick band, which on Chalet you don't see Maverick be played a ton. He can be used for getting the wall open on basement, for example, but typically there are other operators that are brought more frequently than Maverick, but he's still pretty powerful, can make those holes in the wall, as well as effectively give a decent bit of utility if he's not countered by just being shot, obviously. So we'll have to see if he does end up getting that value there. Thatcher being banned as well, not too surprising. Last map we did see Thatcher and Miraband come through, but this time we're also seeing a Goyo get banned. Goyo is an operator that can be powerful, but we didn't see him be played at all on the last map, and we didn't see him really. He's not really an operator that you would ban. He's not super powerful. You could just play the smoke or not play anything at all and just win by using your guns. So it's not the worst ban in the world. I definitely would prefer to see something like a Valkyrie or a Kaid, especially. Kaid's very powerful on this map, be banned. But in any case, especially with Maverick being banned, Maverick's a big counter to Kaid on certain sites, and just again, I'm not sure about the bans, but in any case, what we got is what we're not going to be seeing. Let's focus on what we are seeing, and that, in particular, on the defensive side at least, is going to be operators we have seen so far: a Warden, a Jaeger. Not too surprising. I talked about last map why Warden is brought out by teams, more of a deterrence factor, and we did see that Ying was brought out last map, so not impossible for her to be played. She can be, at least in my opinion, a little bit more powerful on Chalet, especially when you have some of those more tighter rooms with open hallways. You can get a little bit more value out of her, kind of spreading those Candelas out, how they kind of spread out all over the map. But also as well, we are going to be seeing a Valkyrie, which we did see last map as well, get a lot of value with those Evil Eyes, and then a Melusi being brought out. And Melusi is an operator that's mainly used kind of an area denial and also intel operator, similar to kind of Thorn in that regard, but I think she's a little bit more powerful than Thorn, at least in my opinion, when it comes to actually being able to stop attackers from really pushing in, because you know it's there, you gotta waste more utility than just shooting it. Or just waiting for it to explode. What you got to do with Thorn. We did see Thorn last map, which is why I'm talking about her. But one thing I do want to draw the attention to is going to be over towards the side of WSU on their attacking side, where we are going to be seeing an Osa being brought in. And Osa is an operator that I personally love. Got to rep that trans rights, of course. But also, so Osa is an operator that really thrives on when you're taking like a basement site or a site that has an outside hard wall. Right, so we're thinking basement on this map, for example. We are thinking of the new map, Nighthaven. There's that one wall on the site that I can't remember. Why did I bring up Nighthaven? We're thinking of course, Clubhouse, the outside wall in CC. Those maps, you can get a lot of value because of the fact that you can pre-place them before you open the wall, and you can't really be running on all too much. Or at the very least, on this map, it's a little bit more difficult, so you can have someone watching that or have a Claymore watching that, for example. But seeing instead her being used to push in a top floor, which again, if they were playing, or sorry, not push top floor, but push into a first floor inside into bar, which isn't really a site that I, at least in my opinion, also would lean all too well to. You can put her on the windows, I suppose, but you can kind of just shoot them pretty easily. And speaking of shoot, that's what we're going to be seeing quite Drowsy do as Kukanax goes down. I believe only one kill for Kukanax last map, so it looks like their job mainly as the entry on Sledge isn't going all too well for them in the last map, and starting things out not the greatest either. But at the very least, they are able to get some damage onto Young Soul and pressure them off of that hold at the top of Library Stairs, and they're going to force them to rotate all the way back down. We're going to be watching the stairs and potentially making sure no one ends up pushing them. They do have this top floor fully under the control. Libraries under control as well, so they can start playing some vertical. They do have some of those breach charges we see on Trifecta and Sylvie, as both of them are bringing that on the board as well. And like I mentioned last round, Sylvie playing on the Sophia can use impacts to openings if they need to. The hatch, not sure if it was reinforced. I know some people leave it open, some teams don't, but in any case, they do have the perfect operator. It is reinforced. They do have the perfect operator on the board to get it open, and that's going to be, of course, the Ace, who can use 2 of the charge to get it open and then potentially open up another wall in the post plant to get themselves a better angle. I think a post plant is going to happen pretty soon, as we're already seeing 10 seconds left on the board. When did all the time go? They're dropping sight now. Where are all the players? The swings do come through. Young Soul got 2, that's 3. Sylvie just managed to pick them off. They're firing some shots. They get 1, but there's no time, and Decus actually finished them off before the round even ends. They stalled out a lot on that attack. They barely managed to get top floor control before there was only like 45 seconds left. They had to quickly drop hatch. They barely even got a kill before they pushed in to that. They had almost no intel. And of course, we saw the heroic shotgun plays coming out there. It just made things even more difficult for the players on the side of WSU to really push in and get anything done. And well, very solid round win. Some heroics from Sylvie did sort of, put a little bit of a damper on that, get some kills in what I like to call garbage time, and what a lot of people like to call garbage time, where it's like, yeah, they're kills, you got them, like they show up on the stats or whatever, but they weren't really contributing overall to the game being won. There wasn't really any way Sylvie could get those kills, then grab the fuser, then plant the fuser without getting killed, unless there was just complete and total fumble from the players on the side of Marshalltown, which I don't believe would have happened. Ultimately, they didn't. So those kills didn't really matter all too much in the end. Just kind of some consolation prizes as they kind of ended things off. Which, sucks to say, every kill is important. Obviously, they do contribute to the game in some way, but some more than others, unfortunately. And, well, now we're going to be heading up to Master Bedroom, where we're going to be seeing a Frost coming out once again from Decus. Absolutely love this Frost. I'm with you, brother. This is an amazing site for Frost as well. A lot of Windows players to jump in from, in particular that piano window is very common for us to jump in from, as well as the bathroom window. There's the solarium windows. So many windows, so much fun. The main window as well, but not too many players jump in through that because it kind of leaves you in the middle of sight, stranded. But in any case, we are going to be seeing them choose that operators. They choose to hold. Again, no Kaid being brought out. Instead, they're opting for a ban and a mute, which isn't the worst combo in the world, but I feel like Kaid would do the job better. Actually, no, kind of a cheeky Kaid on this map real quick. If you there's that little kind of dresser that's to the left of the hard wall, like the main hard wall, you can put it on top of that and it gets the side wall. Just a little quick tip, a little quick power fact for you guys here. And they've double reinforced off the wall, so they just kind of push up and pressure piano for free. Okay, I don't prefer to hold the site that way, but obviously this is what Marshalltown seemed to do, and they won last map. So who am I to tie? I'm just the caster, and actually this is why we're going to be seeing the bandit come out here. It's going to be for that bandit trick. It's going to make things so much more difficult for the wall to actually get open, as we only have 2 impact EMPs. Oh, but it looks like Young Soul was busy trying to put pressure over towards that door, and well, the wall does end up getting open. I don't want to call it, I know the call it's K9, but I don't like K9 because he's not a good person, so it's like I don't want to call it K9, but if I call it K9 accident, I apologize to anyone, but it's just what I have in my head. We need a new term for that. I'm going to call it Fluke from now on. So anyways, trying to put pressure over towards the Fluke door, and because of that, they end up not really getting a whole lot. Not able to bandit trick all that well, and they have to try to back down. They're not able to. Mach does end up getting the kill. Let's get tagged in the process. We're, again, seeing that Osa come out here. We are going to be seeing this nade come out. Unfortunately, gets thrown a little bit too far back, isn't cooked enough, and doesn't get the shield, but Trifecta's already pushed it into playing the diffuser. Again, another quick pushing. We saw this on round 2 and round 3 of last map, but it's the C4 that actually stops him from going down. Marshalltown have adapted, and this is what I love to see. Now Sylvie's going to try to place it down, and unfortunately, Kutnax just cannot hit their shots, and they get punished by Deck. It just swings out on them. The diffuser does end up going down, and Quite Drowsy does end up going down as well. Oh, but Sylvie, they're there. They're trying to make sure that this round goes in their favor. They get one. They're swinging for another. No shots being landed. And we do. There is one playing on Piano Door, trying to swing out here, and it's Nemesis trying to fight them back. Damage does go through. Sylvie gets another one on the Jack Chance, all down the fully heck. Deku swings out, and they aren't able to do much more. So many kills, just all blue in the kill feed for WSU, and they take that round. Once again, getting another decently fast plant coming out here. Unfortunately, the bandit trick just didn't really work out for them, and they got punished in the end for it. And well, Marshalltown are once again, I'm feeling a sense of deja vu here, going to go back to the same site they just lost. If WSU do another somewhat fast push, get the diffuser down and win the round, but it's a little bit closer this time, I'm going to lose it. Like that, we cannot have, like, the script writers for this one need to be more original. We need to have the same thing not happen again. I'm praying that they can do it this time around, and maybe the Oryx is the adaptation that the players on the side of Marshalltown need to really kind of adjust. Maybe someone roaming out more towards the library side, or maybe down below in side of bar to kind of put a little bit of pressure on the players on the side of WSU, or maybe down even basement. They're going to put some pressure onto the Mezbalk by peeking up down from the basement stairs. A ton of options that you can bring when it comes to actually effectively roaming on this map in particular. It's very open, but very connected. There's a ton of different areas you can come up from, a ton of different ways you can choose to attack something, and a ton of pressure you can put down as well. And it's one of the things that I like about it. It's very versatile in that regard. It never feels like that things go too samey in any one of the rounds. Why I'm hoping that the script writers haven't done it again, and just going to do the same thing they did last map, because that was feeling very similar. Very similar indeed. Give me 1 second, I need to take a sip. Stay hydrated. It's good for you. Once again, double reinforcing off. I don't agree with it, because it means that you can just push up this library hall for completely free, and there's nothing anyone can really do to stop you from doing so. And that's what we're seeing right now, is that they're just taking this control for free. But we are seeing someone downstairs. Is it Young Soul? It kind of looked like it was the bandit for a second. Not 100% certain who it was. In any event, they're going to be taking shots on the Trifecta. They will get tagged. Yeah, it looks like it's the bandit down there. That's just kind of roaming down on the first floor. No, bandit's not down there. If it is fully hectic, I wouldn't be surprised. The outlines are a bit difficult to tell who it is occasionally. They are once again playing onto that Fluke door, putting some pressure over, trying to flush out and prevent the players from pushing them in and getting a pick on them. But now we are going to be seeing the bandit trick coming in here. The second EMP does not go off. They are able to get the, well, at least get one of the charges off the wall, and then the kill coming out with Trifecta, and also Kukunex going down does mean that the wall will not be open no matter what. But now things are sort of stalling out here just a bit. As far as WSU, they don't really know what to do. They've got a bit of damage on the deck, but they need to do more. They need to push in here. And it's going to be Mock that kind of does it. Pushes in. Doesn't look like they know. Oh, but the cross is there. Jack Chan does have them in a pinch, and they are going to be able to get a kill on the Mag. Now down to a 2v5. The players inside of Marshall have adjusted very heavily, and well, I'm hoping that things will work out for them as there's a minute left on the timer. Time for them to work with, and they do have Sylvie, who has been very good at getting these kills in the end of the round. They do stun themselves, which isn't the greatest. And there is, of course, Young Soul who's playing E5 or the default plan. His head does have an ADS, and Nemesis does make sure that things will not end in a flawless round by getting a kill on Jack Jan, but Fully Hectic does end up going down. And, well, Dekus soon to make sure that Nemesis follows. They get the kill, playing behind this small wall, making sure that, well, the round goes in their favor. A 4-0 in terms of man count, at least, for Marshalltown, as they learn from their mistakes in the previous round and adjust and do so in amazing style. And now they have the opportunity to head back to Bar Gaming, where their first round went very, very well in terms of actually defending that bomb site. They were able to put a ton of pressure upstairs, and then by the time that they fall back down, it was just Shotgun City. They just got completely and totally busted. And, well, we're not seeing that Shotgun come out once again. The Mossberg will not be brought out by any of the defenders, but we are going to see, instead, another very similar hold coming out here. That shield being placed off the library stairs will mean that they are able to effectively hold that and prevent any push coming in from the Master's side, as well as just some setups that are coming in to make things more difficult for anyone trying to push in from the library side as well. And I lied. We do have a Mossberg being brought out. I forgot that good old Warden can bring out the Mossberg. I'm just such a huge fan of the MPX that sometimes I just forget that there are, other operators that besides just smoking. Well, only one other operator that has the Mossberg, but in any case, other operators do have shotguns. We do have a secondary shotgun on Oryx as well, which does make things even easier for them to kind of open things up. Yeah, but although you're not going to be getting too many shotgun kills, at least not with the secondary shotgun that Oryx has, unless, of course, you finish someone off you've downed, but does that really count? Not in my book, at least. As the round gets underway, based on the outlines that we can see, we are going to be having the players on the side of WSU spawning over towards that north side, once again, and doing a solar overtake, kind of putting some pressure over, and then making their way in. But there is someone playing in kitchen, going to make things a little bit more difficult for them. Shots are going out. They're trying to make sure they can get a pick onto Kukunex, who does peek out here, and the sprint does come through. That Oryx is making sure they get out of there alive, and they do indeed. Looks like they're debating about going down into basement. It wouldn't be the worst idea ever, and it does look like they decided that is the play they want to go for. They go ahead and head down into basement, where they're going to potentially try to rotate over. I was going to hope they were going to rotate over towards the west main stairs, but no, instead they're going to rotate over to just the main fireplace stairs. They're going to try to put some pressure over if they decide to push out onto the mez balcony or jump in through the fluke window, where, just for a moment, not a whole lot that he can do right now, or my apologies, they can do right now. The fluke window does get open. There is someone on that balcony. I do believe it is Nemesis playing on that Nomad. Either it's Mock playing on that Osa. Actually, it is. I'm going to be Mock playing on that Osa, just putting some pressure over towards that window. The jump in might happen. If it does, Fully Hectic is going to be able to get a very easy frag here, unless they're prepared for that. But there's so many angles you have to watch if you just jump in here. I'm not sure what the plan is, and obviously we do know someone is going to be playing upstairs right now, which is causing a lot of problems for the players on the WSU, as they're trying to peek out and get rid of this player that is currently playing on that shield, but so far it has not happened. The drone does look like he's going to be coming out, so they might be able to find the positioning. It does look like that one of the Mez players is quite drowsy. On that Jaeger does end up rotating back down the site. A peek does come through. It looks like Osa does indeed know where Fully Hectic is. They're not going to even bother to peek. Just going to go ahead and rotate all the way around, and well, Mock doesn't entirely know that. At least assumably not. Potential flanks being worried about here. Players watching that. It does look like they have completely pushed the players off of top floor, which again is good, but this is where they kind of stalled out a little bit, and they were able to effectively get shut down. And now we're seeing, once again, the rotate coming through here. But vertical play is happening. The hatch is being open right now from the players on the side of WSU. They're trying to see if they can get any early picks where they drop into the site. 30 seconds left. Not a whole lot of time to work with, and no picks being on the board for either team. It could be quite precarious. If they do drop in, though, WSU are obviously at the disadvantage, as it is the site that Marshalltown are holding so effectively right now, playing these passive angles and just making sure nothing really happened. 10 seconds left. Trifecta does drop down. Going to go to the default spot. Is there a C4? Is there anything to try to stop them? It doesn't look like no. The diffuser is just going down. Mock opens things up by getting one. Jackjan follows suit and gets two. There's no time left. There's no time for the diffuser to go down. There's no one down there to even pick it up. And, well, Marshalltown win another round heading to bar gaming. Again, just stalling things out. The players on the side of Marshalltown being able to hold that top floor so effectively and then not lose anyone in the process of it. It's just immaculate work from them to be able to win those 2 rounds back to back, and or well, not back to back, but winning those 2 sites they went to it both times, won both times, back to back. You get what I'm going with there. And, well, now they've at least guaranteed that this half will be even, as they're now heading down to Wine and Snowmobile Garage, which, in my opinion, this site is actually the one that I am not the. I'm like every single bomb site on this map is a good competitively viable site. We see Kitchen get played the least because I feel like it requires the most finesse to really get the most out of. In particular, you got to be really good at holding that top floor, but also make sure that you can prevent players from just rushing in from the first floor, which requires not only good gunplay on both sides, but the players holding top floor and the players holding bottom floor, but it also requires good placements of utility and knowing where the push is coming from by being able to figure it out based upon where the drones are coming from, noise are coming from, anything along those lines, being able to adjust accordingly. With that being said, we're not playing on that site. We're playing down in basement, where we are going to be seeing Jackjan once again playing the Kaid, the operator they had some value with on the first half in particular. I don't think you should put that on the ceiling. It's a bit too easy to shoot. I would put it on the floor because there's a single wall blocking, which you can shoot through, but it's better than nothing at the very least. They're also not putting it on the main wall outside because they are going to have a Kaid that is going to be currently tricking it right now. And, well, they don't really have too much they can use to get open sites to impact EMPs, which, again, with a trick coming out here, can be easily countered. I would have preferred at least a little bit more, maybe a twitch to at least shoot some of them. A nade could come out here from Kooksnax, which does look like it is going to happen. Yeah, we are securing. We're trying to get cooked. We are seeing it is going to be thrown. Yeah, the trick just comes through and it just gets rid of at least one of them. And it looks like they might be trying to save them. Take back sight, so they're not even going to try. In any case, the bandit trick worked its perfection. There are no more impact EMPs, so instead it's going to completely rotate over here, where there are 2 players already positioned for the side of WSU that have currently just kind of said, hey, they're kind of peeking in here, not too much there. Oh, we almost saw Mac get a free kill there by just shooting the pre-fire angles, and they can get this main wall open, and now Osa can get a, oh, well, I was going to say they can get a shield down, but Young Soul will not let that happen as they're able to shoot them in the side and try to pre-fire through and get another pick off there. It will not happen. It's downside of Osa is that you're kind of vulnerable when you're placing down a shield, although I've had some Osas that have just put it down right in front of me and I haven't been able to do anything about it, which absolutely freaking sucks. Also, I believe the Osa shield is invulnerable during that phase where it's like being placed down, which also is really dumb. At least it was. I don't know if they fixed that, but in any case, so far, 1 player down for both teams, although Sylvie will get the kill with the with Zofia's gadget. That's pretty cool. Finishing off a down player is going to be quite drowsy going down as well. Young Soul, again, trying to keep their team in this. Another kill for them, bringing things to a 2v3. C4 being thrown. Unfortunately, no one is there. They've gone over to the side wall, and Fully Hectic playing in the backside as well. There is someone above that might be able to rotate over towards blue or rotate over towards the main stairs. Looks like they're going to do that instead. They're going to go ahead and join them over down to this main take. They're going to rotate over. The sites might come through, and it is going to be Fully Hectic to get a very solid kill. Very long range, especially with one of Ella's primary SMG. A lot of recoil there. Thankfully, it only takes 1 bullet, and that's what we see coming up from Fully Hectic. But now they're going to push in. Trifecta getting the diffuser down. Young Soul's going to have to swing, but he walks right into the line of Nemesis. Diffuser does not end up going down. Some shots do come up from Fully Hectic. They do deal some damage onto Nemesis. Now Trifecta is going to be planting. They're worried about where one of the players are. They're going to be swinging out here. One of the kills do come through, and they pre-fire, and they are able to get both of the kills. And with that, Marshalltown have guaranteed that they will take this half at least 4-2 with this diffuse coming out here from Fully Hectic. The diffuser is no longer online, and that is a round win for the defenders. Once again, an amazing, amazing job there for them to be able to effectively get that retake going through. Again, well, a lot of it was just on the back of those two players, Young Soul and Fully Hectic, playing a bit passive, not taking those safe gun fights, waiting for the players in WSU to walk into them, and then, of course, the 1v2 clutch coming out in the end for Fully Hectic, able to make full use of that SMG, even with its high recoil, but high recoil, high fire rate. Not too much you can do, especially when you're in the middle of planting the diffuser and getting up from it. With that, another round will go in the way of Marshalltown. Now, we're looking at potentially another 4-2 half, something that WSU had last match, and that they were only able to get one round win on attack, but that does mean that they did win at least one more round. Potential is there for a 5-2, which is not something you want to see when it comes to you actually being able to defend the next round. You don't want to be at disadvantage, especially a 2-round disadvantage on the half. It can be absolutely devastating. And also the mental game as well. It's a huge part of Siege that we're seeing here, especially from players that are around this level of play. If your mental gets boomed, it can be the end of it sometimes. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully that hasn't already happened. But losing that many rounds in a row and potentially losing at 5-1 could be devastating. And we have two players on the side of WSU who are dropping donuts right now, which is just awful to see. Kuknak and Trifecta, unfortunately, not able to get a single kill on the board. And everyone on the side of Marshalltown is kind of pulling things up to be relatively even. And we have a 3-3, 5, 4, and 4 coming out in terms of the kills. So again, low ball is 3, high ball is 5. Very similar kills, where at least on the side of WSU, we're having Sylvie pretty much put the team on his back. Nemesis and Malk are doing some. They're not useless by any stretch of the imagination, but it feels like where WSU are faltering is they're not able to really get the wall open effectively. Only bringing the OSA with those impact EMPs. Again, I feel like there are better ops to bring for this. They're bringing Line a lot. I feel like Line would be better. There's Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi is very, very strong. I believe she's the most bad attacking operator at SI, for example, which obviously is an SI, but it is always useful to kind of look at the stats as to what the highest level play is doing and kind of base them upon your knowledge of the game. And Dokkaebi is a very powerful operator. We saw that a lot at SI. She also has impact EMPs. You could be bringing to the table. I just feel like OSA hasn't gotten the value that you would want to see you get out of OSA. I think the wall is finally going to be getting open. And unless a bandit trick comes through, which based upon the fact that I didn't hear a boom go off, it does look like it did indeed. And, well, they only have one more impact EMP in pocket. They need to get rid of this bandit. I agree with reinforcing both the walls if you're bandit tricking, which is what they're doing. It does mean that your piano player has to play a little bit, they have to rely more on their gun skill than anything else. But also, one thing I do want to point out is that they can just go under and go into kitchen and use Zophia's gadget to just blow open both of it, and that's what they're going to be doing. So it takes quite a bit of damage, but they do have at least one more in pocket, and they are not going to try to get it done. It is going to be open. I'm not sure why they shot that. I guess because they want to make sure they can crouch behind it just in case. But Monk, once again, trying to rotate over and get that shield down, isn't able to do it. I love Osa. I love her so much. I love her character, I love her design, I love her gadget, but there's a time and a place for Osa, and I don't feel like that this entire map is really too effective unless you're going for a main take on basement, which they tried and they failed. And I feel like that then it's like, okay, well, it happens, whatever, but like every single round they've only attacked basement once. Attacker repick is a thing. You can switch off the op. While the wall is open, and while we are down to a 5v2, they are going to try to play the defuse. They're now, Young Soul swings and gets 2 for basically 3, and now it's all down to Kuknax, and they unfortunately will not get their first kill. A flawless round comes out for the defenders once again, and, well, 5-1. I talked about how dangerous this could potentially be, and, well, something that happened right now. It is 5-1 going into defense. Only 2 more rounds are needed for Marshalltown to take this. Not a position that you want to be in, especially if you are trying to win your second or win your first map and take this to map 3. You have to win 5 in a row to get to match point, and your opponent has to win none. Otherwise, you've got overtime, and you have to win 6 in a row if you want to win. Not impossible to do, but the way that WSU have been looking, unless defense is just where they are feeling themselves, which is completely and totally possible. I'm not saying that they're running completely over, but it looks like less of a possibility. The more rounds that we see, the more time has gone on. It just feels like the WSU, unfortunately, are just struggling a little bit when it comes to figuring out who to bring, what ops are the most effective, how to really getting these kills. It feels like it's all just being on Sylvie. 2 players dropping donuts, not really what you want to see. I don't want to single out people like Kuknax, like Trifecta that are dropping donuts. I feel bad for doing it, but there's at some point winning your guns, winning your gunfights, winning your ones is just kind of what you have to do. There's not too much more you can say about it. Again, I could make suggestions, try to hold these angles, maybe just play a little bit faster, change up some of the operators a bit, change the way you're attacking to make things more favorable for you taking those gunfights. But at the end of the day, if you can't shoot back, it doesn't really matter how quickly or how well you get into sight. It kind of does. That is what they did in round 2 of last map, where they just kind of walked in and they did win their gunfights, but the players on Marshalltown weren't really expecting them to be there as quickly as they were. So it can work, but again, then the teams will just adapt. The players will just realize, hey, this is what's happening, and then they will make those adjustments and get better. And well, now they are going ahead and defending. We are going to be seeing operators that we have seen so far in this map, a mute and a smoke coming out here, as well as a zombie that is being brought out that is so powerful on this map in particular. I really like her because I thought there's a lot of places you can get a lot of value, especially on this basement hold. Putting them around the hard wall where it mainly gets open can make things very difficult for the players on the side of Marshalltown to actually push in. There isn't a ton of them over there right now. Not entirely sure where Sylvia is playing. Might be doing a first or second floor hold where you can utilize those to kind of box yourself in and give yourself a lot of cover. Ying being brought as well will make things even more difficult for Marshalltown to really get anything going. A push down blue is happening in the meantime as well, and that will make things difficult for the players that are playing inside the site. Thankfully, Nemesis is there, though, and does get the call on the Decus. They were the one pushing down to a 4v4. Those diffusers is going to be going down. All those Ying Candelas are coming out here to try to pressure things out. Kuknax does end up going down. Again, no kills for them. It feels so bad for me to keep mentioning that, but I have to. And Mock is able to get 1 this time around, bringing things to a 3v3. Things are looking dangerous, though, for the attackers as they, well, I was going to say look for the defenders, but then we get 2 trades coming out. Or at least we get 2 kills coming out. Sylvie is left with Mock to try to clutch things out. They need to get to the diffuser. Mock does end up going down. The smoke, though, is putting a little bit of pressure, but the OSHA shield. This is why I was telling you the OSHA shield can be so powerful on this site. Now, if I was the zombie here, I would throw it on that shield right now, just to kind of, on that Q barrier, just to kind of pressure things so they can't see. The peaks are coming out here. They're getting shot from above, and yeah, it's the player from above that ends up getting the kill there. Amazing work. That's the OSA that I'm talking about. OSA can be so powerful. There's got to be the right scenario for her, and we saw it perfectly come out for Marshalltown on that attacking round. WSU bringing it every single round. I don't know how I feel. Again, I don't think that's the call, but in any case, Marshalltown, they take that round, putting themselves on match point. Now, WSU have to win 5 in a row to get us to overtime and then win 2 more in order to win it out. Not impossible. Not very likely, though. Things could definitely be very dangerous for them if they aren't able to make the adjustments that they need, and if there's the last round for them to do it. Back down to basement again. I talked about a little bit earlier why I don't like this. Actually, I don't know why I like kitchen. I'm talking about why I didn't like basement. My reasoning is because of that there's too many areas you have to worry about. There's too many spots that the attackers can get an effective push going through. When it comes to defending most of the bomb sites in this game, there's one big area that's important, and there's a side area that is nice for you to have and can be important for the main push, but there's one area that you're going to be mainly pushing in from, I'm thinking. And then there's another area where there might be a somewhat okay push. It isn't awful, but it really depends on the setup that the defenders have. On this site, you can effectively push in a wine from trench. You can push into the main wall if you get it open. You can play vertical from above and drop a hatch. You can push in through blue and get very effective play out of that. It feels like it's just too open. There's too much going on here that is not good, and that Kiva barrier, unfortunately, is not as good as they wanted it to be. But you live and you learn. Sylvie, looking at this player right now, not the greatest Kiva barrier, but an amazing score line, that being the 9-5. We are seeing the NJCAAE claw come in once again. It looks like they might be trying to trick things right here, right now, but it looks like they're anticipating it. The OSA still on the board. They're going to make sure they get this wall open. The trick is coming out now. They're trying to just make sure they can't get this wall open, and, well, it looks like someone got caught. Looks like a little drone got caught. Now they are trying to make sure the wall gets open, but they were able to get both of them, and now the wall is almost certainly going to get open because he's taking his sweet time. He's not going to be able to do it, and that's going to be both the NJCAAE claw is completely down, and no utility wasted aside from 2 EMPs, which means that, well, get the other wall open. There's nothing to stop it, unfortunately. And, well, they're not even going to bother to get that back wall open. So instead, it's going to be taking some shots. Kuknak finally gets their first kill, and Trifecta will not, unfortunately. It fights Rowdy, does fire right back. But with the OSA going down, I don't believe any shields are placed, which does make things fairly difficult. A C4 was tossed out and will get some good damage onto Young Soul, but no kill will go out there. Young Soul doing fairly well on this map. 9-5, a very impressive scoreline, tied with the top frag on the side of WSU. They've started picking things up. They did have the most kills earlier when I last mentioned kills for the side of Marshalltown, but they have things once again. Young Soul trying to get some damage here. Nothing coming out so far. Things are kind of stalling down a little bit. They're trying to get to better positions. The players on the side of Marshalltown to do a 3-pronged push, or maybe 4-pronged push. They do have 4 players left remaining, but they're taking some time to clear upstairs a little bit. Is there anyone upstairs that's maybe putting some pressure onto them? It's difficult for me to say. Yeah, hard for me to really say if there is anyone, but some flashes do go in, some Candelas do go in. Looks like the push might be happening now. Kuknak's playing on these stairs right behind the actual bomb itself. He's going to try to push some pressure down. Your Young still taking even more damage now, but Nemesis does end up going down and quite drowsy. Kuknak does push up, and they are not going to hit their shots, unfortunately. Fully Hectic is able to get one and bringing things down to a 4v2. Sylvie and Kuknak are the only players left remaining. Young Soul tries to get it down. Kuknak goes down all up to Sylvie. Are they going to be good in the clutch in a 1v4? Not an impossible situation, but one that's in very difficult and quite drowsy makes it impossible by getting the final kill of the game onto the Azami, ending this map and this series 2-0 in this map 7-1. An amazing performance from Marshalltown. They had some rounds where it looked a little bit shaky, but they learned from their mistakes very, very quickly, and they were able to come back and actually fully dominate the players on the side of Wichita State University Tech. Amazing, amazing work from them in this series to be able to take as dominantly as they did. I was hoping for a little bit of a closer series, but you get what you can take. Certainly not anything that I'm personally going to be complaining about. But let us know how you think. Obviously, we'll see the comments in the Twitch stream, but also, if you want to go to various different social media platforms and check things out, you're free to do so. But with that, I'm exhausted after that. I'm glad that was quick, at least for my throat's sake. We are going to have more matches coming next week, as well as matches on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tons of different games happening, all ranging very wildly. If you don't want to miss it, March 2nd, it's going to be the Valorant stream as well, if you want to check that out. So and thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry things were a little bit hectic. I apologize. There's just one person talking. But in any case, like I said, thank you again. Hope you guys have an amazing night and stay safe.